What do you see when you think of fire? Destruction, purification, or perhaps a void? The void left by knowledge we never knew. Think of the greatest library of the ancient world, Alexandria, the place where humanity's mind shone brightest. And then, smoke and ashes. Officially, we lost hundreds of thousands of scrolls. But what if that fire never consumed everything? What if the Library of Alexandria survived? Imagine this treasure trove intact. Not just a repository of scrolls, but a living center of knowledge. The brain of the ancient world, never ceasing to pulse. What would that mean? Saving the lost works we know about? That's obvious. The complete dramas of Sophocles, Euripides, pre-Socratic philosophy in its full glory, accurate historical records. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. The real revolution lies hidden in the sciences. The mechanics of Hero of Alexandria, his toys like the Iolipili, a prototype steam engine, would have been taken seriously much earlier. Aristarchus of Samos and his heliocentric model of the universe? Would Copernicus have been necessary if Aristarchus's ideas were actively discussed and developed over centuries? And Eratosthenes? His calculations of Earth's circumference were astonishingly accurate. With this data, supported by continuous research, the age of discovery could have arrived hundreds of years sooner, and perhaps it would have looked entirely different. Let's consider Rome, an empire at the height of its power, with access to a constantly evolving scientific hub in Alexandria. Would it have absorbed this knowledge? Would we have seen the first steam engines not in the 18th century, but in the 4th century AD? Maybe not locomotives, but pumps, simple engines powering mills, siege engines, Roman legions, bolstered not just by muscle, but by mechanics, could have changed the course of history in ways hard for us to fathom. Perhaps the fall of Rome wouldn't have happened at all, or at least not in the form we know. Let's go further. The Dark Ages in Europe. Would they have been as dark if the light of knowledge from Alexandria had never faded? Monasteries wouldn't just be copying scraps. They'd have access to everything. Philosophy, medicine, mathematics. Imagine Galen's medicine not as dogma, but as a starting point for further research, supported by preserved treatises on anatomy and surgery. Medical progress that took centuries in our timeline could have accelerated exponentially. How many epidemics could have been stopped? How many lives saved? And what about the Renaissance? The rebirth of what? If knowledge never died, we'd likely have had a continuation. Perhaps the scientific revolution of the 17th century style would have happened as early as the 12th. Imagine universities in Bologna or Paris discussing not just Aristotle, but the complete works of Democritus, atomic theories, maybe even the seeds of calculus by Archimedes, which in our history were only rediscovered in the 20th century. This is where it gets truly wild. The library's survival isn't just about preserving data. It's about preserving the scientific method, curiosity, and interdisciplinary approach. Mathematics would develop faster. Would the ideas of Leibniz and Newton have emerged earlier? Would the Antikythera mechanism, that stunning ancient analog computer, have been just one of many leading to the development of mechanical computing systems centuries before Babbage? What would the world look like today? Would we even recognize the year 2024? With accelerated progress, perhaps the Industrial Revolution would have happened during the Renaissance? Would the age of steam have given way to electricity centuries ago? Or maybe we would have discovered entirely different paths of development, other energy sources described in lost texts? Would societies be more enlightened, or would this knowledge have become a tool for even greater control and tyranny? With a deeper understanding of philosophy, would we have avoided certain wars and ideological conflicts, or would we have created entirely new ones? The survival of the Library of Alexandria isn't just about more books on shelves. It's potentially a different trajectory for all of human civilization. A world with earlier science, different philosophy, maybe even a different consciousness? Or perhaps certain discoveries would have been too early for us. Maybe the lack of dark ages would have paradoxically slowed us down in other areas we don't yet understand. One thing is certain, the ashes of Alexandria hide not just lost words, but the echoes of countless impossible worlds. Worlds that might have been. Think about it. How else could our history have unfolded? How do you imagine this alternate world?